So, welcome to this webinar. I'm going to show you around the new version of DCPro and how to navigate it, what's new, still the same, and just try and give everybody the chance to have a look around so they know what to do. So, it should take 15 minutes if that. Hopefully it won't take much longer, and I'll go through it nice and slowly just so everyone's aware of kind of what's going on. So when you log into DCPro now, this is what you'll see. So you'll get this kind of like new home screen, which has got tiles on it that allow you to navigate around the system. You can also do the same on the left hand side as well. So we'll go through the summative bit, the formative bit, and then we'll have a look at the new dashboards as well. We'll start with summative, which is where the teachers will come into to put their data. So everybody uses this screen. Formative, not as many, but still a good amount. So we'll do both of these first. So if I click summative, it'll take you to the view you've seen on the classic site many times before when you come to put your summative data in. So nothing's changed here. You'll always get the class that you're looking at, all their contextual information, and then the rest of the data over to the right hand side. Navigating around this now, so if you're someone who has more either than one class or access to more than one class, you can change the cohort here by clicking on cohort. It will list the different classes you've got. If you're a secondary or a special, or you run like a secondary, if you're a middle school, you'll also get any kind of like subjects, year group, class on the side here, and that's how you navigate around. So it's just a case of, depending on what type of school you are, this may look slightly different. It's all here. If you want to look at things back in the past, which we know quite a few schools like to do, this is where the cohort date picker is now visible from. So clicking cohort and you get the cohort date picker. So you can choose some predefined kind of term dates here, or you can use the calendar and choose an actual specific date. Most people use this if they want to see what the data was like on a previous date when they knew some children who have now left are there. Okay, so that's what this bit does. Once you've chosen what you need to look at, if you click use selected in the bottom right, it will take you to what you want to look at. Okay, while we're talking across the top buttons here, the subject button is here as well. So this allows you to choose any subject. You'll see you've got your foundation subjects, and then you've got all subjects here. So any subject that you've got attached to your school will appear in this all section. If you're early years and you've got reception or nursery early, you'll get the 7 prime and specific areas as well as the 17 areas that you need to assess against as well. So they'll be separated out here. Okay, so once you've chosen your subject, it will have a tick on it, and then you just click use selected and it will take you to that subject. As always, the name of the subject is at the top because the screen doesn't necessarily change, it's just the writing at the top. So just keep an eye out for the subject up here, so you know you're in the right subject. We don't want you putting data in the wrong place. So if I scroll to the right, it should be hopefully fairly familiar with you. If this is something you've used previously, or if you're new to it, then I'll try and give you a brief explanation. You get all the contextual information that we take from your MIS. We then get statutory results as far as you've got them, as long as they're kind of attached to the children. It's worth just noting that statutory results, not everybody uses SIMS. Some of the people use different MIS systems, which is absolutely fine. It doesn't make a difference to us which one you use. We still get all of your students and the attendance and things like that. The only thing that separates them is SIMS is the only one that shares statutory results with us automatically. If you use something different or other than SIMS, you will have to upload a CTF from that MIS into DCPro for us to get those statutory results. The other systems, the other MIS systems, do not share these results with us automatically. Okay, it's not just us that don't get them; it's anybody and everybody. They don't share them with us; just don't do it. Okay, SIMS is the only one. You may notice some children may have data on here. They potentially could have come from another school that did use SIMS, and they've got that data attached to them, or they came from another school that used DCPro and we had that data previously. Okay, so that's why you may see some discrepancies sometimes. Yeah, SIMS is the only one we get it from. Towards the end of this, if I remember or have time, I will show you how to import your CTF, okay, in the system, so you can kind of just do that yourself as and when you need. Anyway, so if we go over to the right, you'll always get last year's teacher assessment followed by current year's teacher assessment. Okay, so you get your assessment points at the top here. Putting data in, I won't labour over it. It's really simple. Click in the column header you want to put data into. Most schools now have a fairly kind of simple and easy to kind of like use assessment system and to kind of like terminology. So I always recommend, if you've got some data in, the best thing to do is click next to it, this little V here, and copy from another assessment point. Say which assessment point do you want to copy from. I'm going to copy from baseline because that's where the previous one is, and it's already in this right subject. So I click copy grades, and it kind of populates itself in. So if I click here, I can then go in and edit. So then I could say, actually, this child is now here, or this child is now moved up to here. So you can just go in and either use the arrows or click and choose from here. If you've got multiple grade sets and you want to choose something else, then they will show in this little drop down here. Okay, so if you do have different grade sets for different things and you need to switch between them for whatever reason, they will appear here if you do have more than one. So you just need to click this little drop down. Most schools kind of have their columns set so it only accepts a particular a grade set. Okay, but if you're not one of those types of schools, then it will appear in this little drop down. Okay, with anything, it saves itself all the time. I don't know if you can see that. Just have a little green tick there just to say it's saved, or a cross there if it's something that it doesn't recognize. So I know I need to come and put the right thing in, and it gives me the green tick. Okay. Once you've done what you need to do, you can either close the edit here, but you don't have to, and then you can change the subject and move on to the next one, and just repeat the process. Really straightforward. Okay. Now we're looking at this bit here. If I click on one of the column headers, you can sort or group it and different things like that. The chart button that lots of people used last time is now this little pie chart here. If I click on that, it will then chart my assessment column. Okay, and you can still click on the columns like so, and it does bring up the students. You can look at a different range of views like so. Okay, so you can click across the top, and as always, everything is drillable. You can click into things and look around. Okay, so those things do exist still. You still get the fast filters along the bottom. So if I just want to focus on, say, boys who are pupil premium, so I can click boys at the bottom there, it will just filter them out. Then I can add another one in and say, actually, boys who are pupil premium, then it will just filter all of that out as well, and then I just get their data. Okay, the filter button turns orange at the top if you do have a filter on. If you just click on there and then click clear filters, it will remove them. Please do bear in mind that the filters will stay on as you navigate the system, also even if you log out and log back in again. Okay, so please just check that this filter button is orange and you have kind of like cleared it before kind of like panicking that you've only got kind of like 7 or 8 kids in the class. Okay, so just click clear filters and it will take you back what you're looking at previously. The latest addition to this summative tracking screen is this columns button here. This allows you to pick what you want to see in here. Okay, so if you've got a lot of columns, you're going to have to scroll to the right a lot. You can kind of narrow this down. So if I click columns, this allows me to kind of pick and choose what I want. Okay, there are lots of different views because we get asked a lot of the times, I only want to see this, I only want to see that. Is there any chance I can add this in but keep that out? So to make it simpler, we've given you the option to do pretty much anything you want. I'll explain what these two columns here are for, and then I'll explain kind of like this first set here. So the pupil information bit is the bit that is like a freeze pane in Excel. These are the bits as you scroll left and right will stay. So i.e. the children's name, their gender, okay, that will stay. You can amend and change things. You see that kind of stick as a freeze pane. So you can click and deselect any of these and select them into here or whatever. Okay, it's entirely up to you. So if certain things are more important to you, like you might have lots of service children in the school that you work in, or you've got, priorities are joining dates or terms or whatever, you can click and amend and change what you see. The additional information bit is this bit here. So where all of this kind of like contextual information sits. Okay, some of it will be more important, than other bits. You might not necessarily need to know the primary reason for their, their special educational needs or what the SEND category is. You might wish to see that. So it's a case of just clicking on and taking off what you don't want to see. And that's what these bits do. Okay. Then got kind of like results. So I could just look at this year, assessment points, also with their statutory results. The last 2 years is that classic view you get, which is the one we're looking at currently. You can also choose kind of like things with just the pupil information. So I could have just this year with all the pupil information that I put in here, or you can even make it really simple and just go, I just want to come and put my data in. It's all I need to see. I'm going to click this year. Once you click on something, it will ask you if you wish to use it so just go and use it now, or if you want to save and use it. Okay, so this means you can save this layout and it will be the layout that you default to, okay, when you come to use the system. So if I click save and use layout like this, you can just save it and use it now, or what you could do is you could save it for everybody in your school. So I could say that this I want to use as my data entry, if I can spell that right, my data entry column, okay, my data entry grid. And if I click save for all users, that means every teacher has a login to your school will be able to use this. I don't know if you can just see it in the back there. There's one school shared one already from when I've done this previously. So if I click save and use, what it does is it saves it and it uses it. So I've just got my pupil information and I've just got my assessment points for this year. I've got nothing else, so I can't scroll anywhere. So it keeps it really nice and tidy. If I click back on columns, you can see if I go to school shared, I've got these data entry ones. So if you say to your staff, right, I've created you a data entry layout on the summative screen, you click on columns and go to school shared, click on that and click use. Okay, and it will take you to it. Okay, that's what I want you to use just to keep things nice and easy. Okay, so you can share them across the school, or you can create them just for yourself. Okay, and they will go into the personal section if you save and use the layout there. Don't share it with others. Okay, so that's the summative side of things. Okay, you'll also notice that the export button is still there. So if you want to export any of this into Excel, you can do. Okay, there's an options button here where you can kind of color things by flight paths or grades, and you can change the grid style and have the grades either solid or round or whatever. Okay, whatever you wish to look at it like. Right. There's also the crosstab view on the left as well under the summative tracking view, and this allows you to look at reading, writing, maths, or the 7 prime areas, prime and specific areas if you're in early years. Okay, so it's just a case of selecting which subjects you want to see and using that, and then also selecting which assessment points you want to see. So you could build it up over the course of the year. Okay, it's just a case of just adding in what you'd like to see. So if I click in autumn 2 there, it'll now give me baseline, and then when I come to put my autumn 2 data, I can add it into here. Okay, so really kind of nice, easy way just to kind of put your data in if you just want to do reading, writing, maths on one screen. Right, that's just the crosstab view there. So choose your subjects, choose your assessment points, and away you go. Okay, really straightforward. Next bit I'm going to look at is the formative screen. Now this is slightly different, not in a kind of like a drastic way. So if I click formative, I go to formative view. It'll take me to whatever I was kind of like looking at last. So again, you've got kind of like the ability to change here. Okay, so you can look through different year groups, different classes, etc. Okay, and then also you've got the objectives here, so you can go and choose whichever framework you want to kind of choose. Okay, you can leave multiple things on at the same time if you wish to. You don't have to. Okay, but this is how you kind of like come and navigate where they all are and whichever year groups you want to look at. Okay, so then have whatever it is you're looking at across the top. So you get pupils across the top, objectives down the left. You can pivot this here with this little kind of pivot button here in the top left. If I click that, you'll then get students down the left and objectives on the top of the screen. Okay, some people like that view. I'm not a fan, so I like it the other way around. You can do it that way if you wish. The block setting still exists. You've also got some options buttons here where you can collapse all the headings like so, so it just makes it a little bit easier. You know, so I can see, right, I've got reading and maths on, so you can do all of your subjects in kind of one go, especially if your framework's not too big. Okay, you can add in more than one subject. But so if I just go to expand like so, and now I get all my kind of like objectives that sit inside. The block setting button is still here. You can, if you wish to, just drag along. So if you've got a mouse or your trackpad skills are really good, you can just kind of like drag around or click around, and you can say, I just want to assess against these bits. Okay, or if I come out of that just to get rid of those. If I go into block setting, what happens now is these little 3 lines here is where you'd come to do all of your kind of, this is what I want to set against, this is who I want to set it for. So it's all on these 3 lines now, just to neaten the screen up and give you as much space as possible. So because I'm looking at the students at the top here, if I click on these 3 lines, I want to select all these pupils in this class. Now it's selected. And I want to select this objective here. I want to highlight that, and I want to select this and highlight that, and I want to select this and highlight so. Okay, so these are the ones I want to do. If for any reason you don't want to select against anyone, you can just deselect them. Okay, if you do it by accident, you can reselect them too. The top in green, it says set selected grades, and it also tells you the amount of grades you're going to set. Okay, so it gives you a count here now, rather than previously just as you were about to save them. So if I click set selected grades, okay, I'm going to choose a grade set. So if I choose whatever this one might be, if you do have more than one, you will have to choose it from here. And so I'm just going to set everyone to expected, click save. So away, and then it'll just kind of block fill everyone to expected like so. If you need to amend and change anybody, okay, you can come in and say actually that child's graded depth, that child's graded depth, that child was working towards, etc. So you can go in and amend the odd few that don't fit the bill. Okay, if you kind of refresh the page, I have to do it like this, but when you go off the page and back onto the page, it will then start to calculate based on the rules that you've got set up in the system. Now obviously these are dummy rules, so it doesn't quite marry up, but what it will do is it will start to calculate and generate the rules, okay, when you've just refreshed the page. What it now does is it gives you a grade based on the heading as well as the actual subject itself. So I know in comprehension, in reading, in Year 6, I've got everyone as kind of working towards. Now I know that's not true, but the rules don't work as if they were set up like they do at your school. Okay? It then gives you the overall view of the actual subject itself. So you can see which areas, you know, highlight areas within subjects that might need some more work, or which children are struggling in certain areas. Okay, when you come to set your grades to go into the summative side, if you click these here, these, 3 lines here, okay, against reading Year 6 or writing Year 2 or whatever it might be, it will give you the option to save your calculated grades. Previously it was at the bottom, now it's at the top. Okay. Again, these 3 lines are giving me the information that I need. So if I click Save Calculated Grades, it will take me to a screen. Okay, say where do you want to save your calculated grades to, and who do you want to save them for. So if I click Save Calculated Grade to, I'm going to come and choose the assessment point that I want to come to. Now, the system will move chronologically, so that's why it's saying this one, because chronologically this is the next assessment point in the system. Okay, I'm going to choose, let's say, Autumn 2. Okay, and then it will say it's going to save it to Autumn 2. It says it's going to be saved into reading because that's the subject that I've got my grades in for. Okay, so it kind of does all that bit you've seen before automatically. Okay, and all you need to do is just click Save. The bottom right, it will kind of whirl away. It'll tell you up here that the information's been calculated and saved in the right place. So that's the formative section now. Okay, you can also, if you're not in block setting, chart objectives too, so you can see the number and percentage of children kind of getting things, or which children might need to go and work back over stuff. Okay, so you can chart them again using those 3 lines. Okay, so that's the formative bit. Final bit I want to look through before I keep kind of like boring everybody. If I jump back to main menu, it'll send me back to this home screen, is the dashboards. Now these are the newest thing inside the system. Okay, so if I click dashboards, it will take me to any dashboards I've created. You will get the default dashboard as standard, okay, which is one that you've seen on the classic site. Okay, if you want to manage your dashboard, you can do so here on the left. So I'm going to show you how to create one, and then I'll show you what some of them can look like. So the couple I've created here. Okay, so if I go to add a dashboard, you need to give it a title, not the word title, but give it a name. You can see I've got a data dashboard and an attendance dashboard. You could have a pupil premium dashboard, a send dashboard, whatever. Okay, you might have a year 1 writing dashboard. Okay, so as we go through the setup wizard, it'll say, want to look at all year groups or specific year groups, you can choose a specific year group. Do you want to look at all school groups or specific school groups? If you've got group, take them out of your MIS, okay? They're all kind of here. If you just want to look at everybody, just leave it all as it is. But if you want to look at particular things, you may want to kind of like tinker with this bit here. Okay, you can look at specific groups of pupils. So if you just want everything you're going to add in just be for pupil premium, click pupil premium yes, and everything you choose will just be filtered via pupil premium. Okay. You can also filter stuff as and when you've built a dashboard. So if you scroll down, the next section is the layout section. So what it's actually going to look like as you lay it out. It's defaulted to 50-50. Once you've had a kind of play around with this section, you'll know which ones suit best. Okay, depending on what you want to look at. So if you're going to have something that's got reading, writing and maths on it, you may wish to have one that's split into thirds. So you can have something to do with reading, something to do with writing, something to do with maths. Okay. I'm not going to click around all the different widgets, but this is how you come to add widgets in. Okay, so you just come to the selecting section here, okay, and all you do is just select and it turns green, and you deselect them if you don't want it to show. Okay, and select whatever you want. have a good look around with this. They are, you know, they are really good. They are really useful. The feedback we've got so far of schools that are using that is, you know, it's really intuitive. It's really quite clear. And once they kind of know what widgets do and what widgets they're looking for, you know, it saves them lots of time. So please do spend a few minutes just clicking around them. I'm not going to do that now. Once you've clicked around and put what you want on, you can click Save Dashboard, and it will open your dashboard with the widgets that you've selected. Okay, and again, it adds it in at the top. So now that one I've just created. What I'm going to do is take you through the dashboard, a couple of dashboards that I've added. So the data one here, okay, I've added in a expectations for reading, okay, and a subject for my a Venn. So I've got a whole school Venn, okay, and I've got whole school reading data. Okay, you can put any subject you like in here. You could put it for early years, you can put it for a foundation subject, anything. Okay, as long as you've got data in that subject and in the assessment points you're picking, you can choose any subject. Widgets will have different things at the top for the most part, okay, by which I mean these different buttons, which means you can view the widgets in different ways. So please do click around and see what they kind of, the information they kind of give you. Okay, and as with everything, vast majority of the widgets are drillable. So you can click on some of the columns or some of the numbers and they will give you children's names. Okay, you can move of widgets round, you can deselect them. Okay, it's just a case of looking around and seeing what each widget kind of gives you and the information that it's showing. Okay, so it is worth your time clicking around these. So that's a data one. I've then got an attendance dashboard that I've created. Okay, so I've got full attendance for the school, I've got full attendance for my year groups, but I might wish to look at different attributes. Okay, so now I've got attendance for boys, girls, pupil premium. If you click on these, it will take you into that and give you those. So these are the SEND children and their individual year groups and their individual year group percentage for attendance. And you can go back to the gauges. I've got a persistent absence widget here, so if I scroll down to this, I can then change my threshold to be whatever I want it to be. Okay, and then it will pull in everyone and anyone that fits inside there. You click on one, it will take you to their attendance. Okay, it's really that straightforward. It's just a case of clicking around and seeing which ones work for you. Okay, you can filter these. So if I just want now kind of like, I want everybody, but I just want a widget, a dashboard, sorry, just for the boys. I select boys, I use the selected, and now it's doing it just for the boys. So I've got boys who are pupil premium, boys who are non-pupil premium, so on. I've got all the boys who are PA in my school. Okay, it's really that simple. It also tells you if you've got a filter on here as well. Okay, if you don't want to filter back on, click on the filter bit, click clear filter there. It'll take you back to exactly what you're looking at. So you can filter on the fly. Okay, so you haven't got to create multiple dashboards for different things. You can do if you wish. But just before I forget, hopefully that's kind of giving you a taster of what the dashboards are. I think there's some webinars coming up soon about actually creating the dashboards and going into it in a bit more detail. But this just shows you where they are and how you can kind of go about creating it and having a go for yourself. Just before we finish, I'll show you about the CTF. So if you've got school admin access, you will need someone who's got school admin access rather to help you upload a CTF. If you click school admin on the left, it will take you into the school admin section. Over on the left at the bottom it says data, and under that it says secure data upload. It's underneath it. Here you'll want to upload a file, so click upload. This is where you will find the CTF that you've downloaded from your MIS. It will ask you to upload it. I haven't got one, so I can't do it. The file will appear in here. Okay, once it's kind of when it's in here, it will ask you to process it on the right hand side. So if you click process, okay, it will then read the CTF. Will then read it. If it's the right format, which 9 times out of 10 it is, it will at the top of the CTF say import stage assessments. If you click that, it will take less than a second and it will import all of that data that's inside the CTF. If for whatever reason it cannot read the CTF, it means that there is something wrong in the CTF or it's not in quite the correct format. So you may wish to just drop us an email and say, I've uploaded a CTF, the system's not reading it, can you have a look at it for me and tell me what needs to happen, and we can have a quick look and see what the issues may be, or you might spot it yourself and just re-upload another one. This is where you come to do that. School admin, data, secure data upload the file, your CTF in there, CTFs, okay, you can do more than kind of one at a time. Process, it'll read it, import stage assessments, and it's done. Hopefully that's been kind of like a nice whistle stop tour of new DC Pro, how it's still the same, slightly different and some of the new functionality in it. If anyone's got any questions or they require further training, please do get in touch with us. We're more than happy to help you out. I hope that's been helpful. Thank you very much. Cheers. Take care.